Now, if APC opposition politicians in Anambra State have their way, the upcoming governorship election in November would be a standout opportunity for the party to gain a deeper inroad into the southeastern state. It would also potentially be a major political upheaval moment that they hope will deliver a landslide and relegate the incumbent governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo and his APGA party to political oblivion. Well, that's the wish. The reality may be much harder to achieve. Nevertheless, the APC governorship hopefuls in Anambra State are gathering leverage in preparation for a potential run for the much coveted top job in the state. But first, they'd have to win the party primary, which is scheduled to take place in April this year. Now, one of those who's declared his intention to run in that APC primary is the political economist and chairman of United Nigeria Airlines, Professor Obiora Okonkwo, OFR, and he joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for coming.
Thank you, Charles, for having me.
So you've thrown down your gauntlet in Anambra State and you're throwing your hat in for the race to be the next governor there. Tell us why.
Thank you, Charles. I'm a bona fide child of Anambra State. I am qualified. I am passionate about delivering services to my people. And I am unhappy with the state of affairs in the state. So for this reason, I found it very, very pertinent to not just sit back and criticize or complain, as the case may be, but to come in and show that, look, if I have the opportunity, I'm ready to make a change, to make the difference.
Is this the first time you're attempting to run for elected office in Nigeria?
No, it's not. I've run actually for Senate. I won in court, but, you know, for one reason or the other, I did not get sworn in. And the last gubernatorial election, if you recollect, I was actually the candidate to beat both in PDP primaries and general election. I was robbed of my primary.
Well, you would say that, wouldn't you?
No, that's
what your competitors would say. No, they'll say, well, that's what you would say.
It was obvious even to the blind, yeah, you know, so, because I was no competitor. So for that reason, we all gathered together to ensure that Professor Soludo, the current governor, had his way, believing that he would actualize our collective dream for our state. But unfortunately, the reverse is the case.
Right.
Yeah.
You did mention that you were qualified. I mean, that term has become like a cliche amongst Nigerian politicians. Everyone says they're qualified. I mean, there's nobody who's going to run for office who says, I'm not qualified, but, you know, what the blue blistering barnacles, I'll run anyway. But let me ask you this. What's the high, I mean, along the lines of you being qualified, or you saying that you're qualified, what's the high watermark of your career? And why do you think that career should now move in the direction of leading Anambra State?
It's, Charles, it doesn't take much to be qualified to be a governor, even the president. The Constitution is very clear. So most people really do qualify. And so when they say they're qualified, they're qualified. But obviously within the context of qualification, some people might have capacity, knowledge that differentiate themselves from others. So as of me, I am a trained political scientist, political economist. So by training, I'm a politician. And by other discipline, I am an economist. So this time, though I am a professor, not a professor of theory, but practical. And I've been an
Charles Soludo is a professor.
He's a professor of theory, a professor of theory. That's really what differentiates us. You know, there's difference between the theory and practical. So, and I have been engaged in my own private activities. I'm an entrepreneur, and all my life, and I've been self-employed. So I know what it takes to run things. In terms of managing the economy, human beings, and creating wealth, creating employment. I know the problems of the state. I am exposed. I was actually trained in one of the best leadership institutions in the world, which is Russian Friendship University in Moscow, where leaders are trained from all over the world. So I'm a trained leader. So, and we have shown this.
You're trained by the communists.
Well, that's not, no, that's not really communism, as a matter of fact. We had world-class training, you know, what you guys in America could refer to Ivy League. My school had produced about 20 presidents of the world, so that wouldn't be just communism. So for that reason, I know what the problems of the state are. I'm a community leader, and I've been involved in affairs of Anambra State. I understand where the bones are buried, and in practical times, I can easily hit the ground running.
And in terms of where those bones are buried, I mean, is it a cupboard or is it a cemetery?
Well, the issue is that our problems are very, very many. But the most pathetic one is problem of insecurity. So as far as security is concerned, you might not understand my level of involvement even in national security, but you know, that's not what I want to discuss on the national television. But in the communal areas, certain stabilities have been achieved in our own areas of dominance, you know, abode in our state. But beyond that, I understand quite well how much technology can help in security. And as a concerned Nigeria, I had introduced one of the best security equipment, technology equipment that had aided Nigerian security way from the early days of Boko Haram, which if not applied, Boko Haram would have actually wiped out Nigeria. But that's story for another day.
Right.
I wouldn't want to talk about that.
Let me delve deeper then into that issue of insecurity. Because as you correctly identified, it's a major problem.
Very major.
Is there something that you can cite? I mean, you mentioned, you know, technology, that's a very broad term. I mean, is there something that you can cite specifically as what will be your sort of all-encompassing steamroller policy on insecurity if you get in? If so, what is that?
It's very simple. We've lived in Anambra State in recent past, where Anambra was rated as the most secured state in Nigeria. And it was so because we had a government that took security as a #1 priority. So for me, it would be #1, #2, and #3. All right? So with that, so you have to show interest. You have to prioritize that. With that having been done, you have to provide adequate resources that is required to deal with it. But you see, Anambrarians are not prone to crime. We are very peace-loving people. Some of this stuff you see that is going out of hand, this issue of kidnapping and all that, that because the economic situation in Anambra is so bad. The government policies are anti this common people who are driving the Okada, who are locally doing their own business. Businesses are running away from Anambra State.
And so you blame the Soludo government for that?
Oh, yes. It has to be blamed 100%.
Well, I mean...
So first, then you need to provide a robust economy that will offer these young men, you know, an alternative. All right? So it's not just enough to be whipping them off.
Yeah, but you have to manage your resources within the context of what you actually have in the state. I mean, you can say things and, you know, do things, but when you've actually got the resources, when you've got the money in your hand that is available to the state, and you've got responsibilities, salaries to be paid, bills to be paid, debts to be paid, and then after that you assess what is left over. I mean, it challenges anybody.
Yeah, Charles, I run multiple businesses. I create wealth. I have over 1,000 employees. I pay salaries on a daily basis. That's not a problem. we have more than enough resources in Anambra State. And the potentials that abide in Anambra State can be quadrupled within 6 months of my governance.
Right.
And besides, the problem today is not lack of resources, because the governor goes on with over 2 billion naira every month for security. But not 100 million is spent on security matters. No single walkie-talkie has been provided for any police station in any part of Anambra State. Not even spare tire has been bought for their vehicle for the past 3 years.
They might dispute that.
Well, they may, but it's an open secret. Right. We all live in that community. We're not alien to that community. We see them, we talk to them, because we provide all these things for them.
Well, let me ask you this. Charles Soludo's supporters say amounts to a kamikaze mission to try to run against Governor Soludo and his APGA party, which is deeply embedded in Anambra State. I mean, APGA is the party, not just a party. They say neither you nor anyone else in the APC can come near to sinking their candidate, and that they can easily fend you off. What's your reaction to that?
They're living in the past. APGA has never been the party for Anambra State. PDP had been, as a matter of fact. We know the composition of APGA and composition of PDP. And APGA had never won an election on their own. They had always relied on collaboration with the center. Second tenor of the P2B APGA, his victory was aided by PDP. The first tenor of Obiora, not the same thing. The second tenor, so we know how they make their victory. I wouldn't want to let them know how bad it is. It's left for them to live in that delusion. But be rest assured that yes, every incumbent who is running for second term naturally has his own advantages. But for this case, the situation is so bad, and Soludo knows it. And they have to say what they have to say to give hope. It's a hopeless situation. I wouldn't have been in this case if I hadn't made my own assessment to see how disgusted the people of Anambra from different groups. He has discredited the church. The traditional institutions are destroyed, and then there's no direction. Today, the governor is talking about traditional worshippers. Tomorrow, he's talking about you know, how you have to bury your dead, and tomorrow, you know, I mean, it's just, you don't really know what the policy is. You don't know the policy thrust of the government and the direction. So I really think that I'm glad they think of themselves this way, but I pray I have the ticket, and they'll know already what it will look like when the time comes.
I was going to say that you'd have to first of all get past the APC primary in Anambra State, because I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's your immediate priority.
Of course. So I'll come back here to tell you why.
So you would need to emerge as the candidate.
Correct.
How do you assess your chances with that?
Well, you see, we have very competent.
That's taking place in April, isn't it?
Yeah, that should be specifically on April 5th.
Yeah.
We have very, very competent, qualified friends who are also running in APC. Simply because before I got in there was only one aspirant. But I got in there and opened the floodgate for that aspirant, because I was able to clean up what it is that would have been looking at as a stumbling block for APC to have that widespread. So it is now the party of choice in Anambra. Thanks to me.
Some would say that's a forlorn dream.
Well, for anybody who thinks differently, it's a personal opinion. But with the flood of people moving from one political party to the other, you are just seeing those who are contesting. But there are hundreds of thousands of other people who are joining. And so compared to those guys, I think that I have a better opportunity to win the election for the party, considering that you have an incumbent who is from Anambra South. Anambra South is the senatorial zone. So what it means that if your ticket goes to Anambra South, you forget it, it's a wasted ticket. So I'm from Anambra Central, which has 7 local government areas. with 60% of the entire voting population of Anambra State in Anambra Central. I am a very notable key figure in Anambra State and a leader, as a matter of fact, in Central. Anambra Central is in between Anambra North and South. So it's easier for me to to tap into my political partnership already existing with Anambra North, which are very solid, they are great supporters. With that, you already have 2/3 of the votes covered. And then you take a little bit of what you can get from South. So geographically, that is the best way any strategist will want to go. In terms of qualification, obviously, my good friends who are running are qualified, but I wouldn't want to talk. Our qualifications are open, and you can assess it and know that if you want to choose the best, probably I wouldn't have an opposition.
I like that. Well, you would say that, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
But I mean, so basically, going towards April, between now and then, you could call this obviously the first quarter of 2025. For you, that's going to be filled with challenges, possible risks, given the dangers of Nigerian politics, because you're going to have to get out there and try and, move things your way. But there are potentially also possible opportunities. I mean, would that be the best way to summarize the road to April 2025?
Yes, you got it right, Charles. The challenges are enormous. Sometimes I wish that being a governor is one of those positions you can be appointed into. But unfortunately, you have to run to win. You have to run to win. And it's just like praying to win a lottery. You have to buy the ticket. If you don't buy the ticket and provide, there's no magic or no pastor that can make you win the lottery. So no pain, no gain. Yeah, I've anticipated all those things, and we are prepared for it.
What I find extraordinary, listening to your speech earlier today, is how similar it sounds to virtually every other political hopeful in this country, full of promises. And you'd have to agree that most of those who've gone on to win never really delivered on those promises, which is why Nigeria is stuck in the mud today. Nevertheless, I still have to ask you the question about how bold your plan is to take Anambra State in a new, more productive direction. I mean, I know you've touched on it earlier, but that really is the knob, isn't it?
Well,
you talked about theory and practice.
Yes, so the difference between me and other people who make promises is that they will be telling you what they will do. But everything I say I will do, I am already doing in my own daily activities and my own life engagements. But the only difference is that I'm doing it in a miniature way. So I'm not just looking for a platform to extend it and expand it. So I am different from all those who will say, I will do. All right, so that's different because for everything the governance require, we do it on a daily basis in our large establishment. So I'm not that one that is just making promises. And besides, I'm the only aspirant in this race who is boasting of a large coalition. You know, I'm not alone. This discourse is across political parties. So when I get the ticket, there should be support. The support base should be very massive. It should be outside the APC. I can tell you that we can bring down 60 to 70% of ABGA because those people I know that Soludo is not doing well. As a matter of fact, there's no ABGA in Anambra State today. What we have is solution, not ABGA. The spirit of ABGA had left the ABGA and the state during this governance. We have a cross-section of people who are not politicians, but are ready to support us. The traditional institutions, the church, Anambra has its own unique way, and then the market leaders, they form part of these people that had gone to purchase my form for me and present it to me as a gift. So I'm not alone, and they made the choice out of all those aspirants. So that should tell you that the people know. If you allow them to choose right, they know who to choose, and that person obviously should be me. That does not, obviously, without any bias to the competence and qualification of my friends. All of them are my good friends, and they had the good thing is that each and every one of them had said in a situation that has been discussed that if not them, it should be me. Each and every one of those aspirants. So probably you might be surprised. I might be that consensus candidate we are talking about. And they would not be that tough otherwise.
Yeah, you said something very instructive in the last minute or so there, which is if the primary is allowed to take place above board. That really is the challenge of Nigerian politics, isn't it? One of the challenges.
Well, you see...
Briefly, because we're almost out of time.
Well, it's a big challenge. The reason why I am in this party was that I had done my due diligence. I am convinced that leadership of this party, one, is determined to do the marginalization of the Southeast, and they are ready to choose the best candidate to be in that city in Anambra State because they know the challenges ahead and they want to make a difference. The president, I am convinced, wants people who will help to enshrine his legacy in every aspect of Nigeria.
Right.
So I think those gentlemen who are leading the party they have given me enough reason to believe that they will be free, fair, and just.
On that note, I want to thank you very much indeed. Professor Obiora Okonkwo, OFR, is a political economist and chairman of United Nigeria Airlines. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Charles. I'll be back next time to tell you.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Bye-bye.